welcome to another Guardians of Wiltshire video. I'm your host Dowie, and this is another Send Forth All Legions. This week, Men of the West. The Battle of Pelennor Fields has been won. The free peoples of Middle-earth stand victorious, and the armies of the Dark Lord have been driven back to the land of Mordor. However, the war is not yet over, as now thousands of Orcs stand between Frodo and Mount Doom. In the halls of Minas Tirith, the captain of the West devised a strategy. By marching upon the Black Gate and luring out the armies of the Dark Lord, the men of the West will all but be forfeiting their own lives. However, they will provide Frodo with one last vital chance to finally end the power of the ring once and for all. Gathering their remaining strength, Aragorn, Éomer and Imrahil lead their armies to the Black Gate to fight one last battle. Warriors from Gondor and Rohan now stand side by side as the legions of Mordor Orcs pour from the Black Gate. Only by the courage of the men can the day be won. Together, the armies of Minas Tirith, Rohan and Dol Amroth are a formidable force to face. Their combined skill at arms enough to challenge the strength of Mordor, and they are led by some of the greatest heroes of the Third Age. Men, elves, dwarves, wizards and hobbits stand together in the final great battle against the Dark Lord, for the future of all Middle-earth hangs in the balance. So we'll dive straight in with the army composition. I will let you know this video is going to be slightly different in the fact that the hierarchy of heroes is essentially null and void. I'll explain a bit more about that later. So the army composition, you have Aragorn, King Elessar, Legolas Greenleaf, who can take armour, Gimli, son of Gloin, Éomer, Marshal of the Riddermark, he can take a shield, Meriadoc Brandybuck, Knight of the Mark, Peregrine Took, Guard of the Citadel, Gandalf the White, Beregond, Prince Imrahil of Dol Amroth, Aladan and Elrohir, who can both take heavy armour, Captain of Minas Tirith, who can take a bow or a shield, Captain of Rohan, who can take a bow, heavy armour, shield and throwing spears, and the last hero is the Captain of Dol Amroth. Next, the warriors. You have a warrior of Minas Tirith who can take a warhorn, a banner, a bow, a shield and a spear, a warrior of Rohan who can take a warhorn, a banner, throwing spears, a bow and a shield, and a knight of Dol Amroth who can take a warhorn and a banner. So, on paper, looks amazing. Lots of heroes to choose from who can do lots of different roles. A good choice of warriors, some higher fight value warriors, some who can take some throwing spears. You've got a big range of captains as well. So we'll move on to the additional rules. All models in this force must have the infantry keyword. No cavalry models are available. You can't buy horses for any of them, so that's pretty much as it is. Only Gondor hero models may lead Gondor warrior models. Only Rohan hero models may lead Rohan warrior models. This is where the list, I think, for me, gets let down massively. Because you think you have four heroes who can lead troops. So you've got Aragorn, obviously. Oh, and your captains. So you've got Aragorn, Éomer, Beregond, and Imrahil who can lead troops. The rest can't. Pippin and Merry are independent heroes. Legolas doesn't have the Gondor keyword, or Rohan. Neither does Gimli. Neither does Gandalf, and neither does Aladan and Elrohir. And the final additional rule. The Men of the West force must always include Aragorn, King Elessar, who is always the army's leader. So yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. He leads from the front in at the Black Gate. So that's kind of another option that this list struggles with. Special rules. This day we fight. Whilst Aragorn, King Elessar is alive and on the battlefield, all models from this army list automatically pass all courage tests they are required to make. Amazing. Really, really helpful. For Frodo, Once per game at the start of any fight phase, so long as he is alive and on the battlefield, Aragorn can declare he's using this ability. Friendly models within 12 inches increase their fight value by 1 until the end of the turn. That's awesome. That's heroes and warriors. Really, it can really help in a tricky situation. So the designer's notes. This legendary legion represents the last stand of men that marched upon the Black Gate under the command of the new King of Gondor. The Battle of the Black Gate was one in which the forces of the Free Peoples were significantly outnumbered, yet managed to hold off their foes for enough time to allow Frodo to destroy the ring. In both the movies and the books, those present fight on foot as to form a small area in which to fight in, reducing the effectiveness of the sheer numbers of enemies. Because of this, no models in this force can be mounted. Those that are in the films dismount before the fighting starts, which is why they have no options for mounts. Many of those present at the battle believe this will be their final hours, a desperate effort simply to provide Frodo with one last chance to defeat the Dark Lord. Because of this, they will give everything they can to give Frodo every opportunity, fighting harder than ever before, and giving every last ounce of strength and defiance of Sauron. This is represented in the special rules by allowing them to fight on to the bitter end. So yeah, a really cool and utterly thematic list. It's one that people I've ummed and ahed with. Could it be competitive? I try to give you some forces that I think could be relatively competitive and some forces that are just completely for theme. But I do think this list struggles because you have a number of heroes who cannot lead troops. So we'll come to the hierarchy of heroes next. So, the hierarchy of heroes. I haven't written any hierarchy for this legion at any points values. I think it's you can write this list in so many different ways that I think it's the only legion that I've found so far where there isn't a clear, or at least a possible hierarchy. It all comes down to personal flavour, which heroes you want. Excuse me. Whether you want to do books or film, whether you want to do left hill or right hill or a combined force. There are so many options and so many different possibilities depending on your theme, that a hierarchy just wasn't possible. I think one of the few things you'll have is Gandalf the White will be one of the last heroes you include unless you're playing 800 to 1,000 points. Aragon is such a big point sink that you won't be seeing this list at lower points. I think this list is only starts to get slightly good at 700-ish and up, because then you can include Aragorn with another hero who can lead warriors, and then maybe a special character or two. It's really tricky. So I'll come back with my army list next, and I'll show you the slightly different way I've collated my army lists. Army lists. This is completely different to how I've done them before. Essentially, instead of having 3 lists, I'm going to give you 9, basing on theme and kind of a combined force. So we'll dive right in at 450, and how I'm going to split them out is going to have a left hill, a right hill, and a combined force. So my left hill force is Aragorn and Essar, Legolas, Gimli, Pippin. Straight out of the film. As they charge forward, they're the first ones out. and that's just how it is. So this has 4 models: Aragorn's banner effect, Legolas' shooting ability, 10 might and mighty hero, 3 heroic strikes, heroic march, strong secondary heroes, and Legolas and Gimli's ability to buff each other. So that's Gimli getting +1 to wound and Legolas getting +1 to shoot. So we'll move straight on to the right hill at 450 points. This has Aragorn Alessar, Éomer with a shield, a Dol Amroth captain, and a Rohan captain with heavy armour and shield. So this has 4 models. It's got Aragorn's banner effects, 10 might and mighty hero, 2 heroic strikes, 3 heroic marches because you've got 2 captains in there, and a strong secondary hero in Éomer. I think this is pretty cool. It's based off. So I've based these off the right hill and left hill scenarios from Gondor at War, which are taken straight out of the books. So on the right hill was Éomer and Imrahil with Rohan and Dol Amroth. Obviously you have to include Aragorn, which is why he's in every right hill list. So the combined force at 450 points is Aragorn, 3 Knights of Dol Amroth, 3 Warriors of Minas Tirith with shield, 5 Warriors of Minas Tirith with shield and spear, a Rohan captain with shield, 4 Warriors of Rohan with shield, 4 Warriors of Rohan with shield and throwing spear. So this has 22 models. It's got Aragorn's banner effect, 5 throwing spears, 5 might and mighty hero, heroic strike, 2 heroic marches, and shield wall with kind of half your warriors. So I think this is pretty cool. You've got a bit of fight for in there. You've got plenty of spears, enough spears to back up your own Gondor models, and you've also got some throwing spears for a bit of ranged threat. So we'll quickly move on to 600 points. So again, we'll go back to the left hill. So this time we have Aragorn Lesser, Elladan and Elrohir with heavy armour, Legolas with armour, and Gimli. So this has 5 models. It's got Aragorn's banner effect, Legolas' shooting ability, 15 might and mighty hero, 5 heroic strikes, heroic march, a strong secondary hero, strong secondary heroes across the board, and Legolas and Gimli's ability to buff each other. So you also have the twins, who can do what they do. They do it very well. Chop things up. Just you try not to let one of them get caught. I don't know whether this would be better or worse than a Grey Company list at the same points. It'd be really interesting to see, because obviously Aragorn gets his buff and his defense. All in all, I think this is a really cool thematic list. Not necessarily sure it'd be the most competitive, but having Aragorn, the twins, having everything, the ability to go to fight 7 for a turn is incredible. So we'll move to the right hill, sticking with that all-hero theme, because it's still possible at 600 points with the right hill. So you have Aragorn, Elessar, Imrahil, Éomer with a shield, and 2 Dol Amroth captains. So this has 5 models again. It's got Aragorn's banner effect again. It's got 13 might and mighty hero. It's got 3 heroic strikes and 3 heroic marches. You've got strong secondary heroes across the board. And the Dol Amroth captains can go to fight 6 near Imrahil. So you've kind of got like a little tag team where you've got Imrahil and his 2 captains, and his 2 captains go up to fight 6. And then they could even go to fight 7 with this 1-turn ability, which would be incredible. I don't think it's as strong as the left hill list, due to the fact you don't have the heroic strikes if you need them. Named heroes are always a little bit better than captains, and in this list you don't need a captain for heroic march because you've got Aragorn. So move on to the combined force. So it's Aragorn and Lesser, 6 Warriors of Minas Tirith with shield, 12 Warriors of Minas Tirith with shield and spear. Then you've got Éomer, 6 Warriors of Rohan with shield, 8 Warriors of Rohan with shield and throwing spear. So this is kind of at the films. Éomer doesn't have a shield. So this has 34 models. Aragorn's banner effect again. 8 throwing spears. It's got 6 might and mighty hero, 2 heroic strikes, a heroic march, and kind of just over half the force can shield wall. So this is quite handy. You've got loads of actual spears from the Minas Tirith section of the force, who can support the Rohan force. You've got the Rohan guys who can go in and just shield if necessary, and you've got a little bit of ranged threat from the warriors of Rohan with throwing spears. I've tried to keep these combined forces kind of film themed, and tried to get them to do a bit of everything. So we'll move on to 750 points, and on to back to the left hill. So this one is straight out the films. So you've got Aragorn Lesser, Gandalf the White, Legolas with armour, Gimli, Merry, Pippin, Minas Tirith Captain. So this is 7 models. You've got Aragorn's banner effect, Legolas' shooting ability. You've got 16 might and mighty hero, which is incredible. You've got 5 heroic strikes, 2 heroic marches, strong secondary heroes, Gandalf with all of his spells, and you have Legolas and Gimli's ability to buff each other. So this is the first time you're seeing Gandalf the White in a list. I think this is really cool. The Minas Tirith Captain's in there because you couldn't get another named hero from the film in the list without going way over 750 points. I think the only one left is Éomer. So this is one of those lists I think you may see around for people to take for fun. I don't necessarily think it'd be very competitive because you've got 2 hobbits in there. So this list is purely for fun. So you have, now we move on to the right hill at 750 points. So this is changed from 600 points of right hill because this is no longer all hero. So you have Aragorn Lesser, 2 Knights of Dol Amroth, 3 Warriors of Minas Tirith with shield, 5 Warriors of Minas Tirith with shield and spear, Éomer with a shield, 5 Warriors of Rohan with shield, 7 Warriors of Rohan with shield and throwing spear. Warband 3 is Imrahil, 2 Knights of Dol Amroth, 3 Warriors of Minas Tirith with shield, 5 Warriors of Minas Tirith with shield and spear. So this is 35 models. Again, Aragorn's banner effect, along with Imrahil's banner effect for his Knights of Dol Amroth. You have 7 throwing spears, 9 might and mighty hero, 3 heroic strikes, heroic march, strong secondary heroes. Captains and the Knights of Dol Amroth raise their fight value near Imrahil. And you have shield wall with a large portion of your warriors. So I think this could do alright. Again, it's not very quick. Yes, you have heroic march. Yes, you have some heroes who can chop things, but they're not on horses. If you had Éomer, Imrahil and Aragorn all on horse, they would be a formidable 3 to come up against. I don't quite know how you deal with it. Maybe something to try for the future. However, this list, it would struggle with speed. Your fighters are only fight 3 predominantly. You've got 4 fight 4s in there who can go to fight 5 with Imrahil around your Knights of the Long. So it could be really good. It could not be. So then we'll move on to our last list. I know I've rattled through these, but there's a lot to get through, and I want to keep it in the same kind of time frame as most of the other videos. So the combined force of the Men of the West is more film-based again. So you have Aragorn Lesser, 5 Warriors of Minas Tirith with shield, 5 Warriors of Minas Tirith with shield and spear. Éomer with shield, 5 Warriors of Rohan with shield, 5 Warriors of Rohan with shield and throwing spear. Warband 3 is Legolas with armour, Merry, and Warband 4 is Gimli and Pippin. So this is 26 models, apologies. Aragorn's banner effect, 5 throwing spears, 14 might and mighty hero, 5 heroic strikes, a heroic march, and half the warriors have the ability to shield wall. So I think this is pretty cool. It's straight out of the films. Again, I don't think it would do very well in a tournament scene. But this is how you would see them in the film. How I would see it in the film. And I think it's a really themey list, I think, is the summation. This Legion as a whole, I think, is purely based on theme. It's not one of the Legions that I've seen do well. I've seen many people run. But I do think it's very much, if you want to play it for fun, and you want that scene, this is exactly the Legion for you. So if you've liked this video, please comment, like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.